Some nights stay heavy in your heart forever, not because of what is said, but because of what remains unspoken. Demet was always known as strong, radiant, the kind of woman who carries the weight of the world with grace. But that night, beneath a cold, merciless rain, her strength was quiet, a fragile, trembling kind that no one else could see. It had been months since he left. No goodbye, no explanation. Just silence stretching between them like an ocean too wide to cross. Yet, rumors began to whisper through the streets of Istanbul, a fleeting message, a shadow sighting, that he might come back. A chance. A possibility. And with that faint hope, she found herself walking through the rain, alone, towards the place where their story had started, and where it seemed to have ended. The alley behind the small cafe, their old secret spot. The cobblestones slick with rain, glistening under the dim glow of the street lamps. Her heels clicked softly as she walked, a mix of anticipation and dread twisting in her stomach. She wore a coat too thin for the weather, a scarf clutched tightly around her neck, and the faintest trace of his favorite perfume on her skin, a silent invitation, a whispered plea to fate. Minutes passed. The cold soaked through her clothes, but she didn't move. Every noise made her heart leap, footsteps echoing from a distance, cars splashing past puddles, but none were his. She pressed her back to the cold brick wall, trying to steady her breath, trying to believe. Trying to hold on to the hope that maybe, just maybe, he would come. Her phone was dead, she had left it at home on purpose. This night was for waiting. For feeling. For remembering. And as the rain fell harder, mixing with the tears that she refused to wipe away, Demet whispered to the empty street, "I'm still here." Hours slipped by. The world around her faded to shadows and reflections. The cafe closed. The few passers-by disappeared. But she stayed. Rooted in the wet cold, holding on to the invisible thread that connected her heart to his. Then, through the mist and rain, a figure appeared far down the street. She tensed, heart pounding, but it wasn't him. Just a stranger, walking fast. Her breath hitched, disappointment crashing over her like the thunder that finally broke through the clouds. She closed her eyes, shivering. The night felt endless. And then a voice. Soft, distant. A woman stepped out from the shadows, carrying a small box. "Are you Demet?" she asked. "Yes," Demet replied, unsure. "She wanted you to have this," the woman said, pressing the box into her hands before disappearing into the night. Inside the box was a photograph and a letter. The photo showed Demet waiting in this very alley, but in the background, blurred and faint, was a figure watching her. Him. Watching. Not coming closer. The letter was short, written in his unmistakable handwriting. "I came back, but I didn't know how to face you. You looked so sure I would be here. And I wasn't. But I never stopped loving you. Forgive me, if you can. If not, just know, I came." Demet's tears mixed with the rain as she read the letter again and again. He had come. But fear had kept him distant. She had waited. He had only watched. That night, she walked home alone, the letter and photograph close to her heart. Every step echoed with questions that had no answers. Days passed, but the weight of that rainy night lingered like a shadow that refused to leave. Demet found herself caught between hope and heartbreak, memories and silence. The city moved on, its bright lights and noisy streets oblivious to the quiet storm inside her. She stood before his old apartment building one afternoon. The place was empty now, he had moved months ago. But nothing had changed. The cracked steps, the faded blue door, all silent witnesses to a story unfinished. She never knocked before. Never dared. But now, holding the photograph and letter tightly in her hand, she slipped them into the mailbox. A silent message, "I waited. You watched." Neither spoke. Life, however, has a strange way of looping back. A week later, she received another letter. No sender's name, no return address. Just her name written carefully on the front. Inside, a single sentence, "Meet me where you waited." Her heart raced. No time. No date. Just those 6 words. She returned to the alley. Same wet bricks, same cold air, but this time, her fear had softened into quiet readiness. Minutes slipped by, then an hour. Just as she was about to leave, footsteps echoed behind her. Her breath caught. She turned. There he was. No longer a shadow in a photograph, no longer a ghost in her memory. He stood before her, hesitant, human, real. No umbrella. No excuses. Only eyes that had waited just as long. For a long moment, they said nothing. Words had lost their power. His voice finally broke the silence. I saw you that night, he whispered. Demet nodded. I know. I was frozen. I couldn't get out of the car. You looked so sure, so certain. And I was afraid I'd break something I couldn't fix. Her eyes steady. You already did. He lowered his gaze. I told myself you'd be better off if I didn't come. If I just let you forget. She stepped closer. But you didn't. You stayed. You watched. And then you left. Tears welled in his eyes. I couldn't forgive myself. I still can't. Her voice soft, unwavering. Why are you here now? He paused. Because I never stopped loving you. Because that night broke me, too. For the first time, Demet let her guard down. She took a breath, letting the years of pain and longing flow through her voice. You should have said that then. He nodded slowly. I didn't know how. The night air wrapped around them like a fragile cocoon. She reached out, taking his hand. And the world outside faded to nothing. They sat down on a nearby bench, the city's hum dimming into a soft background melody. The streetlights cast gentle pools of golden light over them as memories surfaced, some sweet, others sharp like broken glass. He spoke first, voice low and raw. Do you remember Bodrum? That day by the marina, the sun setting behind the boats? Demet nodded slowly. He continued, I asked you if you ever imagined a life away from this, the cameras, the pressure, just us. She swallowed, the memory vivid. I was scared to say yes, she admitted. Afraid love would cost me everything, my career, my dreams. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. And I was scared to stay. I thought I'd hold you back, be a weight on your wings. They shared a bittersweet laugh, knowing fear had been their greatest enemy. That day changed everything, she whispered. But we never talked about it, he said. I left without a fight, without a word. Because we both froze, she replied. Silence wrapped around them again, but this time it was warm, like a shared secret, a fragile truce. He looked at her, eyes shining with a new hope. If I had said the right thing back then, would we be different now? Demet thought carefully. No, she said finally. We needed to lose each other to understand what we had. He reached into his coat pocket, pulling out an envelope. I was going to leave this at your door if you didn't come. She opened it slowly. Inside was a plane ticket. Istanbul, Rome. Tomorrow. There's a small apartment near Trastevere, he said softly. No paparazzi, no pressure. Just quiet. Come with me. Not forever. Just for a few days. To see who we are now. Her heart beat fast. The city around them seemed to hold its breath. She looked into his eyes and knew. This was their chance. The cobblestone streets of Trastevere welcomed them with quiet charm, narrow alleys, ancient walls painted with stories, the soft murmur of a city that never truly sleeps. The small apartment was humble but warm, filled with light and possibility. That first day, words were scarce. They walked side by side, not speaking much, their eyes taking in the city, its history, its beauty, and each other. In Piazza Navona, as a street musician played a hauntingly beautiful Italian love song, Demet felt tears prick her eyes. He noticed and asked gently, You okay? She smiled through the sting. I'm not sad. I just forgot what it felt like to feel safe. He reached out, his hand brushing hers, a silent promise. That night, they cooked dinner together. The pasta was oversalted, the sauce spilled, but laughter filled the kitchen, a melody that hadn't played in a long time. Across the table, Demet asked the question that had haunted her. Why now? Why come back after all this time? He looked into her eyes, steady and sincere. Because I realized I wasn't missing the past. I was missing you. No grand gestures followed. No dramatic declarations. Just a look, long, tender, and full of everything they'd lost and might still find. On the third morning, Demet woke early. The soft light filtered through the window. He was still asleep beside her, peaceful. She walked to the window. Outside, gentle rain fell. A Roman summer rain. And suddenly, she understood. She had waited alone in the rain once, heart-aching, uncertain. But now, the rain was different. It was no longer a symbol of loneliness. It was a sign of renewal. She hadn't packed her bags. Her ticket back was untouched. There was no reason to leave. When he stirred awake, she was still by the window. You're up early, he murmured. She turned, smiling softly. I was once afraid, if I chose love, I'd lose myself. He sat up, curious. And now? She stepped closer, calm and sure. Now I know. I found myself because I chose it. And just like that, their story, was no longer about waiting in the rain. It was about walking forward. Together. That night, the rain fell gently over Rome, washing the streets in silver light and soft whispers. Demet and he stepped outside the quiet apartment, hands finding each other as naturally as breathing. The city around them was alive with memories, but between them was a new silence, not heavy or painful, but full of unspoken understanding. She looked up, letting the cool drops kiss her skin. I waited for so long, standing alone in the rain, hoping you'd come. His eyes softened, reflecting the glimmering streetlights. I saw you. Every moment. But I was afraid that coming back would break everything more. She squeezed his hand gently. It did break us. But maybe, breaking is just the first step to healing. He took a deep breath, voice low but steady. I was lost in my own fears. I thought leaving was the answer. But leaving you behind was the hardest thing I've ever done. For the first time, their walls fell completely away. No past regrets, no guarded pain. Just two souls willing to try again. She smiled, a fragile but real smile. Love isn't about never falling. It's about choosing to stand up together, no matter how many times we fall. He pulled her close, the rain mingling with their tears. I'm here now. Not just in the moments you expect. But in every moment. They walked through the empty Roman streets, the rain a quiet witness to their new beginning. Sometimes, love means waiting alone in the rain. Sometimes, it means having the courage to come back. And sometimes, it means both. That night, Demet's wait ended. And a new story began, not of perfect love, but of real love.